It's the starting five. I'm Yaron Weitzman. The NBA season has basically reached its midway point, which makes this the perfect time to look ahead at the second half. So here are the five biggest storylines to pay attention to in the second half of the NBA season. Number one, will Ben Simmons play at all this season? And if he does play, which team will he play for? By now, you know the deal here. Ben Simmons refuses to play for the Sixers. The Sixers refuse to just trade him. Round and round and round and round we go. The question is, can the Sixers actually find a suitor for him? And if not, will Ben Simmons actually sit out the entire season? The trade deadline is February 10th, which is basically a month out now. And now that the NBA has, at this point, gotten its recent COVID surge under control, GMs can focus more on what kind of trades they want to make as opposed to worrying which reserve guard to sign from the Greensboro Swarm. The problem with Ben Simmons is that he's actually a really hard player to trade. He's too good to just give away, but he's not quite good enough that every team is lining up to go get him. By now, you know the teams that are basically interested in Ben Simmons, the Hawks, who are struggling a ton on defense and could really use him, the Kings, the Timberwolves, maybe the Pacers. But the problem again is that the Sixers, because of Joel Embiid and how good he is, they need to take back players who can help them win now. Draft picks and prospects don't exactly work. At this point, it seems like if a deal is going to happen, it's going to have to be with a team that we haven't heard about yet. The question then becomes, will Ben Simmons actually sit out the entire season if no trade happens? Number two, can Klay Thompson elevate the Warriors offense? You know the Warriors have been awesome this season, but the reason they have been awesome might surprise you. It's their defense that's doing the work, not the offense. The defense is ranked number one in the NBA, a full 2 points per 100 possessions better than the number two ranked Suns. The offense, on the other hand, is ranked number 14th. Steph Curry, while great and while setting the three-point shooting record, is actually having the worst shooting season of his career. This is where Klay Thompson comes in. No star in the NBA is better at fitting in within an offense. I don't know if you can find a player in NBA history who scored more points on fewer dribbles. If Klay can come back and return to form, and so far in the 2 games he's played, he's looked great, shooting pretty good, he's moving well, he even had some nasty dunks. If he can return to his old form, I think the Warriors become the title favorites. Number three, can Anthony Davis return to the floor and save the Lakers? It's been a strange season so far in LA. As most of us predicted, the Russell Westbrook trade has been a disaster. The Lakers are old, they're over-reliant on LeBron, and they are struggling just to stay above the play-in tournament mark. But there is a glass half full view you can take to the Lakers' first half of the season. Anthony Davis has missed 11 games since going out in mid-December with a knee ligament injury. In that time, they stumbled upon something new, playing LeBron as a small ball center and giving Malik Monk, who suddenly is really good, tons of minutes alongside him. That has opened the floor for the entire roster, including players like Russell Westbrook. The Lakers' offense has actually been the third best in the NBA over the past 2 weeks. Of course, the problem is, despite that small ball LeBron at center lineup, the Lakers are still winning only about half their games. This is where AD comes in. If he can come back, elevate the team's defense, rediscover his stroke, then the Lakers could actually be onto something. But it all depends on what Anthony Davis looks like upon his return. Number four, the MVP race. This is shaping up to be what could be one of the most fun and tight MVP battles in recent memory. The way I see it, if the season ended today, there'd be 4 players who would basically be splitting first place votes. There's Steph Curry, who, despite his shooting struggles, is still the best player on one of the league's top teams and is still 4th in the league in scoring. There's Kevin Durant, who's been a monster all season, leading the league in scoring and 2nd in minutes. There's Giannis, who per usual has been a machine. And there's Nikola Jokic, who despite his lack of sex appeal, his coach's words, not mine, is actually putting up better numbers than he did last season, leading the league in PER and boasting a ridiculous plus-minus. All of them are deserving candidates, and recently we've seen guys like Ja Morant and Joel Embiid play just as well as that group of 4. Add in players like DeMar DeRozan, LeBron James, and Chris Paul, and it's very possible that come spring, we have 7 different guys vying for first place votes. Number 5, can the Nets pull off this whole Kyrie Irving home and away dance? The Nets are really struggling right now. They've lost 6 of their last 10. Their defense has fallen back down to earth after being as high as number 5 recently. They are playing Kevin Durant way too many minutes, and James Harden does not look like the James Harden who won the MVP in Houston. This is a team that's in championship or bust mode, and if there's anything we've learned over the first half of the season. It's that they probably need Kyrie on the floor in order to win that championship. But this whole situation remains very strange from a continuity standpoint, from a chemistry standpoint, from a game planning standpoint. Never mind come playoff time when the Nets could actually be hurt by having home court advantage. Maybe the Nets find a way around all of this. We recently learned via Steph Bondy of the Daily News in New York that it could basically amount to a $5,000 fine for the Nets to play Kyrie, and maybe that's a route they elect to take come playoff time. But they are clearly not there yet, which will make the Nets one of the more fascinating teams to follow in the second half of the NBA season. That's the starting five. I'm Yaron Weitzman. Be sure to keep your eyes peeled here for more to come.